we have a Cruiserweight matchup, our second semifinal game. In our matchup sees Paolo playing as his favorite candidate, Inflation Mary, in the E tier, and his opponent Silas. His E tier candidate is Jeb Bush. The winner of this match will go on to play Matt for the Cruiserweight Championship. These two players are two of the best up-and-coming rookies. Hungry to learn the game, actively learning from veterans. Let's see what they do turn one. Jeb 1 pips into big conservative. Meanwhile, Inflation Mary, of course, goes national groups. So, Inflation Mary, probably the best, arguably the best E tier out there because of those big national groups. You can see she's got a negative in all the state groups. Let's see, Jeb's got a 25% big conservative. Not bad stats here for Jeb. I have played Paolo multiple times when he's been Inflation Mary, and he tends to go a little overboard on the national groups. Let's see if he can grab 2 or 3 and then get to the state groups and not let Silas take over the state groups. As Silas goes to big conservative, he's going to go into another group here as he gets evangelical, so he's going to push back on that national group lead as gun lobby's brought to the third and women's movement is brought to the third. So we'll see where the national group bonuses shake out here on turn 2. Women's movement 54.4, gun lobby 36.2, totaling about 90, and big conservative at 62, but evangelical is on its way. See, now, if I'm Paolo, I'm maybe going to go to youth vote, but I would start attacking state groups, but we'll see what he does. He instead pressures evangelical. Evangelical will get 45, and he goes into youth vote. So evangelical brings Silas's total up over 100K in national group bonuses. Let's see if that pressure in evangelical, if Paolo decides to go for a swipe here early on, or if he just lets the pressure work and make Silas flinch a little bit. Silas, a good opportunity here to go to Old South, get set up in Old South and swing, especially if Paolo is going to focus on those national groups for a while. I would not be surprised to see Paolo also go for labor and environment. Let's see here. Pressure and big conservative. There Silas goes. He does go into labor and environment. Silas getting ready for Old South. Youth vote brought to the 4th. So we are going to have a massive national group collection here for Inflation Mary, as Paolo is now up over 100, well over 100, and he's going to get another big one with labor and environment. We'll see if he also attempts to swipe evangelical or big conservative. For the time being, if I'm Silas, though, I'm focusing on getting Old South and getting ready for swing. Get those state groups, and then you can come back and reclaim a national group if need be. Let's see what we got turn 5. There's Florida entered. Old South is going to be had. No swipe attempts, but labor and environment will add another 72.5. Silas is set up for swing. No pressure from Paolo as he continues to just focus on national groups. 5 turns in, but it gives him plenty of spending cash here. Quick math gives me about $200K in national group bonuses. Silas, however, has Old South and will get swing to balance that out. Will Paolo apply some pressure here, or will he go for a swipe of a national group? Paolo loves Inflation Mary, and I think it's his goal every time he uses her to get all of the national groups, which can be beneficial, but can also be dangerous if you let your opponent pile up state groups. Silas, the number 2 ranked, I believe, maybe it was Paolo. I'll have to double check. But the 2 and 3 ranked cruiserweights in this matchup, there is the big conservative swipe. There is the evangelical swipe. So all national groups are in Paolo's hands. Meanwhile, however, swing will be going to Silas. My goodness, let's look at that. We are over $300K in national group bonuses for Paolo. Swinging Old South for Silas. And the cash advantage is not that different right there. So, we'll see how Silas responds. Does he try to take a national group away here? Or take it back, I should say. Let's see what other good bonuses he has. So oil and gas is the largest state group. So does he pivot to Texas right away here and get aggressive for oil and gas and manufacturing? Let's see. Alabama 1 pip ahead. Arizona entered. Big conservative is taken back. A big spend there in big conservative. $400K spent to get that back for Silas as pressure is applied in Old South by Paolo. So he gets that largest national group bonus back for himself and is still in, still in good shape to hold swing. However, Paolo is at $1 million in raw cash right now. Does Paolo go to Cali, Texas here? He could pile up some bonuses, some state bonuses real quick. Or does he spend money to try to get big conservative back? Does Silas try to get evangelical back? Let's find out here. Turn 8. Alabama to the 3rd. Arizona to the 3rd. Big conservative is locked in by Silas. Evangelical, big time spend from Paolo, not wanting to lose it. Georgia, big time spend, swipe, and lock from Paolo. North Carolina stays to Silas. Virginia, swipe attempt denied by Silas. So, Silas holds Old South. He locks in big conservative. Evangelical is locked in by Paolo. Let's see what Paolo decides to do here. He has not pressured Florida yet. He needs to pressure Florida here and pressure spread out into the swing states. Otherwise, that will allow Silas to defend the handful of states that Paolo is. See, only 2 more open states there that Silas needs to defend. These guys working at a quick pace. Winner goes on to face Matt, who is undefeated in the regular season and won his semifinal game. They will go on to face Matt for the Cruiserweight Championship. Turn 9, 3 minutes left. Let's see. Oil and gas, negative 18%. Manufacturing, negative 8%. So not terrible there. If Paolo decided to go Texas or possibly California, he could even save up. If he pressures here enough, he could save up and try to go for a 3-corner, getting Texas, Cali, and New York. Here we go. Silas getting ready for AA bonus. He defends Virginia and North Carolina. Virginia is locked in. A no spend here by Paolo. So the 3-corner attempt may be coming as he elects not to pressure. He elects not to go for a swipe of Old South. He could go 200 and each brings him to 8. He would have enough to double pip in the big 3. If I'm Silas here, I'm going Texas. I'm going 400 in Texas if I got it, which I think he does. Even if you clash, you prevent the 3-corner from happening. California goes Paolo, Illinois to the 3rd. We have a low spend here by Silas. Oregon, Tennessee, Texas double pip. So doesn't go New York, but gets set up in California, Texas, and some important export states there. Big spend. African American AA bonus given to Silas, 80K. And just like that, the EV count is almost dead even. However, Silas saves money, but on that turn, it would have been nice to see him at least go 1 pip into Texas. He's got to go 2 pips into New York on this turn to prevent the 3-corner. I would consider going 2 pips in New York and a pip in Texas to put some pressure on. Paolo going into Ohio and Tennessee to help set up for manufacturing as well as export in Washington and Oregon. Two of the best rookies right now, up-and-coming rookies in the 270 lounge, in the Cruiserweight division. Cruiserweight division has been a fun division this year. The competitors very respectful and helping each other learn the game, give each other tips. But only one can move on to face Matt here for the championship. Paolo looking to pick up a good handful of state groups here. He should be able to pick up manufacturing, export, agriculture, Latino, oil. Let's see if he can do it. Pressure in Alabama. Cali, pressure in Cali here from Silas. Pressure in Louisiana. Massachusetts, we're going to get set up for high tech. North Carolina is locked in using that swing in Old South there. Nevada entered. Same with New Hampshire. New Mexico brought to the 3rd. There's a 1 pip into New York. Ohio brought to the 3rd. Oregon. Tennessee pressure there with that AA money. And pressure in Washington. So we're going to see a big collection of state groups here. Latino for 69K, oil and gas for 61, agriculture for 41, manufacturing for 69, export for 31. On top of all of those national groups, look at that list. Again, Silas agreeing to do E-tier which Paolo has had a lot of experience with. But Silas holds a cash advantage right now. He can slow Paolo down with that pressure in California. I'd also consider pressuring Texas. But with that pressure in California, Silas is set up to get high tech here to apply even more pressure. He holds an almost 60 EV lead. This is shaping up to be a close game. I think Paolo needs to get some pressure going here. He needs to pressure those swing states, those high-tech states, Michigan, PA. Florida needs to be pressured. Let's see if he does it. Alaska entered. California 1 pip. Nothing going though. Hawaii, Iowa brought to the third. Massachusetts brought to the third. We should see high tech here for Silas. Mississippi to the third. Nevada. New Hampshire. New York will be brought to the third. No pressure in there in New York. Ohio, the pressure works to get Paolo to spend. And same in Tennessee. So Paolo does not really apply pressure there. High tech in town and gown picked up by Jeb, by Silas. Cash almost dead even. 70 EV lead for Silas. Again, that lack of pressure is letting Silas feel confident in all of those states, allowing him to make Paolo, allowing himself to make Paolo sweat with the pressures he has. Can Paolo apply pressure? Will he bite more from Silas's pressure in California, in Ohio, Tennessee? Now he's got the high tech to pressure in Washington as well. Turn 13, Silas is in the driver's seat. But the state groups are even. National groups are not even. Paolo with a huge advantage in national groups. I know I've said it already a dozen times, though. National groups, when you have all that money, you need to pressure. Look at all those states without pressure. Arizona, Nevada, all of those Midwest states, not in Florida or New York. Silas applies more pressure, making him sweat there. There's pressure in Florida. Louisiana, big time spend and lock from Silas as he brings Minnesota to the third. Pressure in New Mexico. That Ohio pressure working. A swipe in Oregon by Silas. Tennessee, nothing going. A swipe in Washington. And a lock from Silas. He takes export away. Beautiful turn there from Silas. Paolo does pressure Florida, but nowhere else. See, if Paolo were to pressure Illinois and Michigan and the remaining Old South states, or the remaining swing states, he could possibly swipe Florida. But right now, Silas can spend all of his AA and all of his swing money to defend Florida. If I'm Paolo, I can't spend in California anymore. Need to spread out. Need to pressure. Will he do it? If you can hear noise in the background, I'm on my break at work right now. And we have a fire truck at school today, and the kids are pumped. Here we go, Arkansas. California again, money spent in California. That pressure doing all of the work. But that Florida pressure causes Silas to lock it in, spending big time. New Mexico also locked. Ohio also locked. Oregon swipe attempt, no go. That's a huge block for Silas. Rhode Island entered. Tennessee locked in. We got enough EVs for the ballot now. Once all states are entered. So instead of spreading around that pressure in California, burns Paolo again. He gets denied in Oregon. Now there is absolutely no pressure in swing states from Paolo. All the states he was in are locked. Turn 15. Paolo can't just go for the ballot here because Silas is over 270. He's at 282. If you're Paolo here, you spread out to each and every state, open and the states that Silas has right now, and you save, and you try to make a crazy ballot move to get those EVs back. Arizona, there's pressure. Pressure in Arkansas. Are we finally seeing it? No pressure in Colorado, though. We got a clash in D.C. Pressure in Delaware. Idaho entered by Silas. Pressure in Illinois. Indiana entered by Silas. Pressure in Iowa. Kansas entered by Silas. And Kentucky. Pressure in Massachusetts. Pressure in Maryland. Maine is entered. Pressure in Michigan. Missouri entered by Silas, as well as Montana. Clash in North Dakota. Couple clashes here. We will not see the ballot, but Silas doing the smart thing in the driver's seat, trying to get to the ballot while he has this massive lead. Oregon is locked in. We're going to see pressure finally in PA, but Silas is going to have a lot of swing money saved up. Pressure in Texas from Silas. That will slow Paolo down in his comeback attempt, as that EV lead now over 200, 160 to 372. Let's look. Okay, now Paolo. He did exactly what I was talking about, pressuring in every one of Silas's states, but he did not enter any new states. Silas smartly takes all of those EVs for the time being and still is matching Paolo in cash. Let's see how much that pressure in Texas gets to Paolo. I think he should just pip into the remaining states and save and try to be unpredictable at the ballot. We'll see if this is the last turn before the ballot. .230 left. One of the longer turns as it becomes pivotal here near the end of the game. Do we see a swipe attempt of New York from Paolo in desperation? But again, that can be easily defended and probably going to see a big spend here as Silas sits comfortable in most every state to spend big in New York, just like he did when he got that pressure in Florida. Our states that are currently open due to clashes: New York, and there is one more, DC. So if New York and DC go to someone, we're going to the ballot. Pressure in Colorado, pressure in Connecticut. DC, a 3-pip spend by each of them, so we will not be going to the ballot. Idaho pressure, Indiana pressure, Paolo doing a good job finally pressuring these states. Maryland, defense, but nothing going. Pressure in Maine. Michigan, big time spend, but nothing going. As Paolo continues to enter each state. North Dakota goes to Silas for the time being. New York, big time spend there, but he has the money to do it. Same with PA. PA is locked in. And that pressure in Texas gets Paolo to spend $400K as Silas is locking up his EVs. But that clash in DC will give us at least one more turn before the ballot. Turn 17 in this matchup. Paolo now with a large cash advantage, doubling Silas. Can he make use of it? Silas may be good at defending this, but if I'm Paolo, I might try to go 1 pip ahead in all of these states that they're even at 1 to chip away. But he does need a big swipe here somewhere. But he's running out of places. I'd start with Illinois. We'll see if someone can get ahead in DC to push us to the ballot. Who will go on to face Matt for the Cruiserweight Championship? Matt is also newer to player tournaments, has been around a little bit longer than these guys, but a bunch of fresh faces here. As Arizona, nothing going. Arkansas stays to Jeb. Same with Connecticut. DC, we are going to the ballot. We have a no spend here by Paolo. So he is going to save and try to make a bunch of noise here on the ballot turn with a massive amount of money. He is going to have to flip a lot of EVs as Silas has over a 200 advantage in EVs. Let's see if he can do it with 2.3 million. Should be an interesting ballot. He is entered into every state. 2.3 mil. But does Silas have enough money and enough states locked in and in the lead in enough states to hold on? This would be one of the more dramatic comebacks if Paolo is able to pull it off. He'd have to swing, I think, 109 EVs, if I'm doing that math correct. And I am not a mathematician, a math magician. at all. But we'll see if Paolo is. We'll see if Paolo can calculate a comeback here. Paolo has to be mindful of where is Silas's money. Silas's money is in swing. He's got Old South and AA. He's got Town and Gown. So if you're Paolo, you got to attack manufacturing. You got to attack agriculture. You got to take New Jersey. Oil and gas states. He's got to take all of those oil and gas states. Minnesota will be a big one to take. He should not go for New York. He should not spend any money in Cali or Texas. Alabama, swipe attempt denied here on this ballot turn. We're going to have more EVs for Silas as Alaska, but here we go. Can Paolo start the comeback with a swipe in Arkansas? But he is denied in Colorado. He gets Connecticut. He gets Delaware back, pushing it to 173. Hawaii, nothing going. Idaho will go to Paolo. But he still has a lot of ground. Oof. And he does not get Indiana. He does not get Iowa. Not looking good for Paolo. As he gets Kansas. He does get Kentucky. He gets Massachusetts. Okay. Momentum starting here. He gets Maine. Can he get Michigan? Nope. Doesn't go to Michigan. He does get Minnesota, though. Big spend in Minnesota. Mississippi, he's denied. Does he get Missouri? He does. Big spend in Missouri. He gets Montana up past 225. He gets Nebraska past 230. He gets New Hampshire to 235. New Jersey will be a big one. He gets New Jersey 249. He gets Oklahoma 256. Rhode Island is a swipe for Silas. That could be important, but South Carolina is taken 261. Silas takes South Dakota back, however. Utah goes to Paolo. Vermont, though, goes to Silas. West Virginia, 1 pip swipe. And Wyoming brings us to a 268 to 270 final. Are you kidding me? What a match. What a finish. Paolo swinging 108 EVs. But it was not enough. He spent big in some states to get the swipe, and he could have used some of that money to defend some of those oil and gas states or swipe them. Silas taking just enough EVs away to stop the ballot swap and hold on to a 270 to 268 lead and final. What a match between these two competitors, these two rookie all-stars here from the Cruiserweight division. Silas goes on to face Matt in the 270 Cruiserweight Championship match.